What's that, dear?
I said, just look at you.
I'll need a mirror. What's your point?
Saddle Bottoms will be here in less than half an hour, and there's you with your feet up as if you got an army of servants at your beck and call.
Don't fuss, dear. It's the weekend after all.
I'll give you weekend. It'll be the end of the world before you get up to do anything useful, you big lump of laziness.
So what's so special about these Saddle Bottoms, then?
Guess to Seven Pines are always special. Besides, there's 4 of them.
Oh, how old are the children?
Didn't say. Strange thing, though. They want separate rooms.
Huh. Fallen from paradise. Not like us, dear, eh?
Stop it. Now is not the time. House in the state it's in, and we've got new guests coming, and these Saddle Bottoms will be expecting a good dinner.
The house is fine. Leave it be. Bit of dust never harmed no one. And what does it say in the Bible? Man, thou art dust, and to dust thou shalt return.
Not in my Bible, it doesn't. In the Gospel, according to Mrs. Lamb, it says visitors will find dust in this guest house over my dead body.
Please, dear, don't be talking about dead bodies before dinner.
Well, if you get off your big backside and help me move this sideboard.
I'll get it.
Would better not be them already. Look at the mess. How can I run a guest house with a husband who thinks he doesn't even know one side of the vacuum cleaner from the other and think the Bible from a playbook? Oh, it's all well and good to have glossy brochures, but you have to live up to your words. Seven Pines. Now is the time to enjoy new millennium luxury with old-fashioned charm. Experience revelations of a world you never knew still existed in the heart of a countryside that time has forgotten. Every room has ensuite bathroom and shower with coffee and tea-making facilities, satellite and big screen. Who is it then?
The horsemen.
Horsemen? Tell them we don't want any.
Any what?
Whatever it is they're selling.
They're not selling anything, dear. It's the 4 horsemen.
I don't care if it's the Navy SEALs. We've got enough to be doing already, and Saddle Bottoms will be here before you can say...
Apocalypse. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
I'll apocalypse you if you don't get your finger out and help me move this sideboard.
I'm sure they'll be moving furniture and all before you can say 7 seals.
You haven't invited them in, have you?
No, but that's not the point, love.
And where did they put those horses?
They're just outside. All different color there, like it says in the book.
They'll be blocking traffic. They better not park in front of Fellview, or they'll be all hell to pay. You know what they're like at Fellview. Now, come on, help me move this sideboard, and then we've got to get on with dinner.
You don't understand, do you? It's the end of time. There will be no dinner tonight.
Not for you if you don't help me with... Well, to what do we owe the pleasure of this uninvited and unconventional appearance?
Time for a cup of tea, perhaps. Always time for a cup of tea. We're expecting guests soon, as it happens. But obviously, things are a bit up in the air. What with the end of time and all that.
What is this? Some kind of joke? Storming into people's houses without so much as a excuse me or sorry to bother you or...
Now, dear. I'm sure there'll be a good reason for the unheralded arrival. They've maybe come to give us news about how global warming is getting on with cooking the planet.
Well, it's exactly not the time. I need to be worrying about cooking Sunday dinner before I worry about a cooking planet. Apocalypse my arthritic aunt.
Apologies for the wife. We've got guests coming soon and she's a bit preoccupied. You know how women are like. Or perhaps may as well introduce myself. I'm Mr. Lamb. Mrs. Lamb, of course. She's the power behind the throne and in front of it. Don't suppose women wear trousers where your power and throne is concerned. And as for equal opportunity, as your father, well, don't get me started.
They didn't. Now, to stop your rambling, well, we might as well be knowing your names.
I think this gentleman is Pestilence.
I am Pestilence!
See?
Well, all right. If you and your fellow horsemen are wanting a room, I'm afraid we don't have any vacancies at the moment. Oh, you could join us for dinner. Looks like you could use some bulking up like him. But don't be expecting any gourmet cuisine or what have you.
This is the end!
What'd you say, love? You gotta speak up. Hearing's not as good as it used to be.
This is the end!
Got that right. 4 extra mouths to feed, and I don't know what I can do for your horses. You'll be the death of me, you men.
I think this gentleman's referring to the end of time.
End of time, indeed. I'll give you end of time. And what are you bringing to the party, cheery chops?
I bring war!
Well, that's just charming. That'll go down great in Albany.
And I bring famine!
You bring what, love?
Famine!
Just in time for dinner. Well, I guess you don't get asked out much, do you, huh?
I am death!
Most folks bring chocolates or a bottle of wine. You understand?
I said I am death!
What's the world coming to, right?
I am death!
It's not that we expect all our guests to be life and soul of the party, but honestly, what did you say you were?
Death!
Gentleman says he's death.
Well, we'll have none of that either. What were you thinking? Pestilence, fate, Warren. What did you say you were?
Death!
Death, is it? Well, let me tell you. I'm going to be frank with you. I don't suppose that you have ever run a guest house, have you? Huh? I don't suppose you've ever had any experience in the hospitality business or private enterprise. Well, this sort of carrying on is not what we at Seven Pines need if we're going to run a healthy business and have a future. Now, I don't care who you think you are
I am Pestilence!
or what you think you're doing here,
I bring war!
but in our brochure, it says, come to Seven Pines and experience revelations of a world you never knew existed.
We read the brochure! I am death.
And imagine what kind of world they'll be faced with when they see you in your macabre regalia. We're looking to attract a good sort of folk who value a bit of peace and comfort in beautiful surroundings.
And I bring famine!
And if they see the lot of you here looking like,
I am death.
They can't help it, dear. They're the 4 horsemen. They've got a job to do.
so have you, now that you mention it, table's not set. You're not wearing that red bow tie, are you? Are you trying to frighten the saddle bottoms? Bow tie and shirt.
Look, love. Face facts. It's the apocalypse now. The end of everything. All will be swept away in a whirlwind and conflagration and brimstone and what have you. The color of my bow tie is not going to be of much consequence.
When a wife starts worrying about her husband wearing an ugly red bow tie and the setting of the table, then It'll be the end of time, and not until.
But the end is nigh. Very nigh. Isn't it, guys?
That's bull stuff and nonsense.
But that's why they're here. They have come to alert us.
Oh, you're saying we have our own private messengers of doomsday, like when people win the sweepstakes or the lottery.
I expect they want somewhere to stay the night before riding upon storm clouds across the firmament to deliver a public announcement to the rest of the world in the morning.
What do you know, you who think there's dust in the good book?
Well, if they're not the four horsemen, who are they then?
It's a setup. Some kind of silly prank.
A prank?
Yeah, you know, like those strippergrams you're always telling me about down at the Crown.
An apocalypsogram?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, look at Mr. Death here. I've seen scarier gourds at Halloween.
You know, now that I look at them, all searchingly and skeptically and that, like Bill Nye says, on TV, which he recommends we should do, keep an open mind. I think maybe you're right. And I'm not just saying that for an easier life. I think it's the saddle bottoms. So, who are you really then? Out with it, come on now, you've had your fun.
We are indeed the harbingers of the end.
Although we made our reservations using the alias Saddlebottoms.
To avoid raising suspicion, I am death.
So you are the saddle bottoms in costume. Well done, folks. You had us there. Practical jokers, you devils. Fancy dress fiends.
Fools. You are sadly mistaken. This is the end! I am death.
Sure you are. Mr. Saddlebottom, I presume. Well, they do look a bit of a fright, don't they?
And they're not staying here. We have our standards.
So what are they to do? They've made a legitimate reservation.
I'm not having no apocalyptos in this guest house. We have a reputation to consider.
I don't think it's legal for us to turn them away, what with discrimination and that.
Discrimination? I'll give them equal discrimination. Hear this. You're all equally discriminated against at Seven Pines. You can go down the road to Fellview. They'll take anyone there.
I'm sorry about that, gentlemen. It's just, we have a business to consider. I'll see you to your variously colored horses.
We cannot be withstood.
That's what I said before I married hers truly.
War.
I know how you feel.
But I am death.
It's like war every day in this house.
I said I am death.
Still, a bit of bossing. It's not the end of the world, is it?
I said.
A woman's guest house is her castle. Come hell or high water.
This is the end.